Welcome to Cuyahoga County Community Development Committee meeting. It is Monday, October 16th. Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll.
As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Ms. Stevens.
Present.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is absent at the moment. Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon is absent at the moment. Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Kelly.
Here.
You have a quorum. And let the record reflect that Ms. Conwell is also in attendance.
Thank you. Is there any public comment this morning?
No, Madam Chair, no one has signed in.
Okay, if there is no public comment, then let us move to the minutes of the October 2nd meeting. Are there any comments on those minutes? Hearing none, I move that we approve those minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, hearing no opposition. Madam Clerk, those minutes are approved. Can we please get to the matters before committee today?
Resolution 2023-0278, awarding a total sum not to exceed $125,000 to Community Housing Solutions for the CHS Home Repair Program from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Who's here to represent Community Solutions this morning? When you are at the podium, please identify yourself in your role with the organization. Who's speaking to us today?
I'm Mike Grimes with Community Housing Solutions. I'm the home repair manager.
My name is Roger Carney. I am the controller for Community Housing Solutions.
Good morning. My name is Pam Schulerman. I'm the executive director of Community Housing Solutions.
Jim, you're going to start us out this
I
morning?
sure am. Thank you. I wanted to first briefly talk about the history of Community Housing Solutions. We're happy and proud this year to be celebrating 50 years of service to Cuyahoga County. Our vision is to live in a community where everybody has stable housing, and our mission is to assist low-income families in obtaining and maintaining safe, decent, and affordable housing. We have 3 pillars of programming that we do: counseling, tool loan, and home repair, which I'll talk about last. But I wanted to share with you who we are helping, some of our statistics. 55 years old is the average age for a client in our counseling program, with the average income of $25,000. Last year, you can see if you jump below, we helped 746 homeowners as counseling clients. We have 4 HUD certified counselors. Our tool loan program, we have 2 offices or two tool loan programs and locations for folks in the city of Cleveland to borrow tools. And not only do we hand somebody a tool, but we'll say this is how you use it safely. So we're proud of that program, and it's quite busy, especially in the summer months. So the reason we're here today is to talk about our home repair program, which really does have a tremendous impact on residents who have lived in housing that delayed maintenance, just not able to afford the critical home repairs so they can have a safe and healthy home. So 85% of our clients are 60 years and above, and the average age, surprisingly, is 67, the average age for a client in 2022. And you can see the average income, $18,000, and really we're helping. 67% of our clients are people of color, and our impact, really is tremendous. We really, beyond the safe and healthy housing component, we really want to get to know our clients and really make that repair that's going to have the biggest impact. So last year, we helped about 445 homes with about over 1,200 home repairs. So we'll go in and do a roof, but we might look at other items to make sure that their home is safe and healthy. I'd like to now introduce Roger Carney, our controller.
Good morning. So I want you to know that CHS has completed $4.3 million worth of home repairs in 2023, which is certainly a record for us. It is, in fact, the best year that we've ever had through September, as opposed to all the other years that I'm talking about that are 12 months. So this has been a great year. We've done $18 million worth of home repairs since 2018. Mike leads a very incredible team of folks whose forte is service delivery. We leave our clients with the feeling that someone cares about them through our, touching them with both our housing counseling and tool loan programs, as well as, the home repairs. $1 million of that money came from CDBG last year from the county, where we're in the process of completing 43 different home repairs throughout those entitlement communities. CHS also administers home repair programs for the city of Cleveland through the Age-Friendly Home Investment Program through the Department of Aging and the Mayor's Neighborhood Transformation Initiative, where we did homes in Glenville as well as the Buckeye area. We use contracts. This is so important. We use contracts like these to leverage the dollars that we get, so that the dollars that we're looking for are seed money. In fact, the largest funder that we've used so far, is the matching dollars that we take your dollars and leverage them with. So that's really important. So Councilwoman Conwell gave us $700,000 to do home repairs in County District 7. And so far, we've done a little better than $500,000 worth. We still have $250,000 in progress at different phases of being complete. Part of why it's taken us so long, Councilwoman Conwell, is because, there are times with other funding that we find that we were going to do jobs with your money, and then we find a different source of funding, and so we've done actually, more work. And so that's, a credit to the team and the foresight that we have to try and make your money go as far as it can. If the house that you saw in the last slide, before that, is a house where we actually did $45,000 worth of work. Councilman Harrison from the city of Cleveland wanted that done, and so we used some money from the Department of Aging, along with your dollars, with a Federal Home Loan Bank grant, with some money that we got from the city of Cleveland. We were actually able to do the roof, the porches, and we sided that house. So, and without all of that money, we couldn't have done any of that work for seniors. And of course, the alternative to that would have been for you and I individually to pay for that lady to go to a nursing home, kind of a thing. And we're enabling her to continue to live in her home, with a little jump start from all these different programs. So Councilwoman Conwell has made us aware that there are other needs in our ward and wants to provide an additional $125,000 to complete those repairs. I've pledged another $50,000 of CHS resources to add to that to help pay for some of those repairs, as well as go and do a little additional work. These are predominantly roofs, but also there may be some other porches and other health and safety repairs to be done. So we do the best we can with the dollars that we have. The greatest needs I see are actually in East Cleveland and Euclid and Cleveland Ward 5. I have matching dollars, but we need, seed money too. So you can't fix all the issues, and we get that. We do have to start somewhere, and particularly for these unbankable widows, who are predominantly the folks that we serve. It's so important to have dollars to help seniors age in place. The most needs we see are roofs, porches, and bathroom remodels. We also can handle electrical, carpentry, and HVAC needs. We can fix anything in the home, we just can't fix everything for lack of funds. While we're frequently asked to fix code violations, our main concern is the senior living in their home. Please note the largest single funder this year, as I said, was the funds that we used that were matching dollars, not the actual program. So we're not looking for these dollars to be the entire program, but we will add dollars to it. For now, we're asking you to look favorably on our request for $125,000 from District 7 ARPA to replace some roofs and/or porches and other things that probably needed to be fixed a few years ago. We'd love to help in other ways, but we need that seed money to do so. But thank you for your time. That concludes our presentation.
Thank you. Do my colleagues have any questions? Mr. Kelly?
That's an excellent program. Very, very impressive. Can you tell me what other districts in the county that you have done work? There's 11 districts here.
So sure, and that becomes a problem. So the $1 million, which was wonderful funding from CDBG this past year, I know that, Director Parks Jackson, certainly wanted us to touch each of the 51 communities, but we could only do 43 jobs. So it's hard to call a mayor and say, hey, I want to have a program in your city, when the best you can do is maybe one, but not necessarily one. We've been out, out west, right? So, North Olmsted and Olmsted Falls are places where we've gone. I can't say we've touched most communities, but we've gone where, folks have called and have made inquiry.
In thinking about Councilman Kelly's district, I do think you did two there. I think one of them was in North Olmsted. And
I know we
can't-
have. Mhm.
And I can't remember where the other one is. Sarah still here? Ms. Parks Jackson?
I can certainly reach back out to you and let you know exactly where
Because
we've completed those jobs.
one of the things that the director and I have discussed is making sure that there's an effort to touch every district so that each council person can see the quality of work that you do and the overall product, because that is how we ensure support for programming like yours from everyone, so that, because there was $1 million before we got to the ARPA.
Sure.
And
And so it makes it hard for,
the director's right behind you, so she can you remember what we discussed about most of the districts?
I do remember what we discussed, Sarah Parks Jackson, Department of Housing and Community Development. I will get the committee and the rest of council a list of all of the CDBG funded addresses and locations so that we have that going forward.
So we looked at 3 programs, I thought. The home funds that we receive from HUD, through the consortium, we made a partial allocation from home.
No,
No? What was the $1 million?
$1 million is CDBG.
Okay,
And then there is the allocation from Councilwoman Conwell
okay.
that we had. So
And then did the county land bank do some rehab?
that is through CHN Housing Partners.
Okay.
So we will get you the list for both entities doing the home repair. CHN Housing Partners does 80% to 120 because our CDBG, they'll do under 80, but the focus is those people in that gap.
So what's even more important in districts where we have folks whose incomes are a little higher, 60 to 180% is where you see a lot of seniors in Councilman Kelly's district. That means that there are more people we can access who just haven't stretched their dollars to do long-term maintenance in their homes.
Exactly. But we will get you both.
Okay. Is there anything else, Councilman?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mr. Gallagher? So I have a couple of nerdy questions to ask you.
and your district is really tough for me, since, and for Councilwoman Conwell, we can do nothing with CDBG dollars, because that's all in the city of Cleveland.
But you can do
University Heights, and we did one.
I did see that. And so the other areas except for Bratnall are entitlement areas of their own. And Bratnall for some reason has not called on us. I have that blessing and curse. I have some of the wealthiest people in Ohio living in Bratnall. And I have the poorest people in Ohio
Yes.
living in East Cleveland. Did I hear you say you had AHP money? You said Federal Home Loan Bank?
Yes, that is
So
correct.
did you get AHP money?
Yes, we
To
did.
help expand your rehab?
Yes, we've been receiving those dollars since 2018.
So that's a competitive application?
It is.
You've been putting in every year?
We
You know,
have.
they're expanding the amount of money that's available this year?
If I can be so bold, so we've applied for $5 million worth of funding this year.
That's the full amount they have available.
That is the full amount they have available, and we are, and we are, thanks to all this, thanks to all of our, our funders, we're loaded for bear.
Well,
And-
I'll
and
have to
let me-
tell my friends down there that we've applied for everything they have.
And let me tell you, so there's more. If I can brag for just a second on our team, they have an offering called Carol M. Peterson.
That's correct.
They're, right, so those are $10,000 home repairs, and you have to call, or you have to input your applications at a certain time on a certain day, and it will run out in 15 minutes. And
So were you online early this year?
we've been online early every year.
Okay.
In the last couple of years, we've gotten 7 or 8 because the pool has decreased, because it's funded by their earnings, and their earnings were almost nothing, with interest rates being very
Although they
low.
were high last year.
And they were very high, and so after we got the 10 that we first proposed, or that we first submitted
Applied for.
we went back to them and we said, so, as they said, hey, if you haven't put your 10 in, please finish, because we still have more money. And then I asked the question, are you going to open it up for more? And they did. And we actually applied and received $950,000 worth of Carol M.
Congratulations.
Peterson, just because we were, trying to think about how we can best serve, right, Cuyahoga County residents, and some of the folks from Councilwoman Conwell's, district were able to receive some of those dollars.
Unfortunately, the AHP money has no restrictions on demographics. It's just where member banks are. And so since the member banks from this district cover all 59 municipal jurisdictions and variations and have a higher application threshold, as well as allow higher percentages of area median income, I'm glad that you were aggressive in pursuing those funds.
So know that we've been shut out before asking for, because in the last few years, it's been very competitive. And so one year we got money to help people up to 80% of area median income, but last year, we applied for money at 80%, and we got shut out. We had the highest scoring non-funder proposal, one of them, so we submitted several.
Okay.
But we got shut out because we asked for money at 80%. So you lose a point, right? Right for that. So very competitive. So this $5 million that we asked for, that's all at 50%
Well, you
of
know, we're in
AMI.
the same pool with with all of Kentucky. And
and Tennessee.
their area median incomes in probably 20% of the counties in Kentucky are 50% of our area median incomes.
So that you, well, from what I've been able to see, there are a few nonprofits that apply for their dollars for home repairs. Actually, most of the money is for low-income housing tax credit projects. We are one of very few, and the reason that is because of the matching requirement, right? You can ask for $5 million, but you need to have $2.5 million worth of matching dollars, and God has been good to us. We have we've got plenty. Matching dollars is not a problem, so
Excellent.
it's a good thing, right?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So I had to check with Mr. McAleer. When I took this seat, the majority of the District 1 ARPA funds had already been spent. So I had to check to see where my balance was, but this is an excellent program. I'd like to donate $10,000 to the CHS home repair program.
I bet they would
From
be
District
happy to
1.
accept an amendment.
Mr. McAleer said he would do a proposed substitute for the next council meeting.
Thank you, and we'll just have to remember to add that into the language for the proposed motion. You and I were going off into nerd heaven.
I'd love to
talking
continue that sometime.
about the programming, but I think we've accomplished one major goal, and that is to have one of my colleagues add a little something to this.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Councilman.
Mr. Kelly's one of our newer members, and so this is the first time he's been able to do, well, this is the second or third time maybe, because we did some food together. I thought I had one more question. Oh, why, Euclid is an entitlement community as well as East Cleveland and Ward 5. You said that you had work done in those three communities. You didn't get any work done in Lakewood or Cleveland Heights?
No, no. Not much. No, not much. It's not an area we target because we have no matching dollars there.
Okay, so they haven't made an effort to match with you, but East Cleveland has, as well as Euclid?
No, 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 I'm sorry. No, I don't mean that at all. No,
Okay.
what I mean is no, neither Ward 5 nor East Cleveland nor, right? So none of the, I'm sorry, I get confused about these. You call them,
Okay.
do you call them non-entitlement communities or?
So when they receive an automatic allocation of community development block grant dollars, they're called an entitlement.
Okay, so-
They're entitled to community development block grant dollars, and they're entitled to some home funds. So in Cuyahoga County, the city of Cleveland is an entitlement. East Cleveland, Cleveland Heights, Lakewood, Euclid, and Sarah, what am I forgetting?
There's Hunting Valley and, yeah,
No, those communities are too small. Your demographics typically have to have at one point in time been 50,000 or more, and your poverty statistics have to have been significant. Who did I forget?
Sarah, can you
I
speak
forgot
into the mic?
Parma, thank you. Parma's actually the, what, seventh largest city in the state of Ohio? And so they had significant community development block grant dollars. But you didn't mention doing any work in Parma.
no, we do not, no, we don't have any funding from Parma.
Okay. So with that, it is always our desire to see you do more outside of the core city of Cleveland and in our suburban communities, and that's the request from Mr. Kelly. And so the more you look at those communities that are not typically beneficiaries of your programming, the happier we will be. With that, I'd like to hear a motion to include a substitute. Sharon, could you give us some preliminary language, please?
Well, Madam Chair, I believe we were going to have the proposed substitute when it goes for second reading, so that we
Okay.
can,
So we'd like a resolution for a sum total not to exceed 125, maybe 135 for community housing solutions. Just what we see in front of us with a substitute to be accepted at
Right.
full council. for
right, when
three
it goes for
readings.
second reading.
Okay. Is that acceptable to you, Mr. Kelly?
So moved.
And I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Are you happy, Councilwoman Conwell?
Yes, may I have a few words?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. So, the work that Community Housing Solutions does is great work. I think I ran into or met Roger 12 years ago when I started on this council. We didn't have ARPA funds back then, and I just heard about the great work that he did, that they did. And just some of the, people would call me. I found out a little bit. I think I came out and visited the West Side office, see what they did, all in connection because we knew 12 years and still today the housing needs that we have across this county. So, all of us get those sad stories where there's, a senior that'll call and they're lacking insurance because their house is falling down. And so I wanted to be knowledgeable about the programs that were out there. And to fast speed this, Roger shared, the state funding and all the different type of funding sources that they had. We didn't individually have ARPA dollars at that time, but Roger always helped a resident in my district that was really struggling. They have medical issues, they're limited, and I knew without a doubt when we got these ARPA dollars, he was number one because he had helped all through those years on all of our communities, on the neediest of the neediest. And so I'm just excited for this. This particular extra dollars that I gave is we all get grant funding. These programs, our neighborhood collabs get grant funding, but through the federal government, there's always a stipulation. When can desperate need be number one? That's what we need. And so Famicos had, the lady reached out to me. She had 7 families that need roofs really bad. And because they live in 2-family homes, now they're seniors. They're not renting their house out for profit because they're scared. They don't want to rent to everybody. They're not eligible for these funds that Famicos already has. And we've all had those kind of stories where people don't quite fit into the funding source. So she reached out to me and said, well, I heard you had some ARPA dollars. And so I thought to speed up the process, since we had already given funding to the Department of Housing Development, that we could speed this process up and get these roofs done. But then me and Trevor talked it out. They would have to have a contract amendment and all that. So this is where we are today. It's much faster to get these 7 families' homes, roofs before the snow comes. So just wanted to share that they've been great partners. The previous director as well, and I've had the pleasure of meeting the new director, sitting down, DSAS, working on the community housing issues we all know that exist, housing for especially our seniors. So that's all I had to say, Madam Chair. Thank you. Thank you to my colleagues. This is very necessary. I would just share with you, Councilman Kelly, let's just make sure, because I know these are strictly for this, let's make sure that it might not have to go through Sarah's, because Sarah's is, helps all the districts. So we'll just check with them to make sure. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely. One question I wanted to ask, because having done some work in Councilman Kelly's district when I worked for a different agency, there's some trailers out along the western perimeter of his district, and some of them are in need of repair. My memory says that under AHP, trailers are eligible.
Under AHP, trailers are not eligible.
Okay.
There is no funding available through the Federal Home Loan Bank for trailers.
Are they eligible under the ARPA funds? And the director's coming up behind you.
Sarah Parks Jackson, again, Department of Housing and Community Development. My new administrator, who just left HUD, just reminded me that under CDBG, trailers are an eligible activity.
They're an ineligible or?
Eligible. They are
Okay,
an eligible
excellent.
activity.
I'm
So-
just trying to make sure, given the diversity of what he's got out there, there's room for him to take a look at anything somebody comes to him with.
So the CDBG funds can be married
Okay.
with Councilman Kelly's ARPA funds to make a few repairs.
Excellent. Okay, did I get a vote, or did we just, I just got the motion done? Okay.
Right.
So, with hearing no further discussion, I'm sorry.
Just one more thing, ma'am. I was just reading how the editorial board at the Plain Dealer whacked us again for the quote-unquote slush funds where these dollars are going. So the incomprehensible position of the Plain Dealer editorial board, and in particular, Mr. Quinn, doesn't think you should get these dollars. So I just want to make that public.
That doesn't sound
They should
slushy
be
at all to
ashamed
me.
of themselves, but then again, you have to be self-aware to be ashamed, and he certainly is not. I think you deserve these dollars, and their continual slush fund whacks at us fall flat. We're going to do our job and do it well. As they promoted the removal of the land for the jail initially, that will end up costing the taxpayers of Cuyahoga County, in my opinion, close to $100 million extra dollars as they ignore that position that they took. That's a slush fund in my position, in my opinion. So I wish you well with these funds. And once again, request a debate with the editorial board at the Plain Dealer to discuss these slush funds. I anticipate them not giving me a call.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. If there's no further discussion, because I definitely wouldn't have cut that off. I want you on the record with that. All in favor, please say aye. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're moving this forward to the full body of council. There will be 3 readings. You are not required to attend. You can watch us live stream, talk to our staff on your way out the door, and they will tell you the next steps in the procedure toward contract execution. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
And let the record reflect that Mr. Jones is now in attendance.
One of the things I wanted to get on the record before we move to the next item on the record is that there's a deficiency of affordable housing and the maintenance of affordable housing in the state of Ohio. In Cuyahoga County alone, there are over 55,000 units of affordable housing that we need to generate. And it's programs like the one that was just before us and programs that are available through the next activities that come before us that help statistically reduce that outstanding number of need. America is supposed to be a great community that takes care of more than just the wealthy. And if we cannot take care of providing affordable housing, especially to our seniors, shame on us. And so I'm glad that these type of programs are available for us to invest in, not only with the ARPA money, but with our community development money and with the progressive attitude that Director Sarah Parks Jackson has in trying to find other people's money to put back into Cuyahoga County. Thank you. Mr. McLear, are you presenting for the next item, or is that Mr. Huth? Mr. Huth, are you coming before us for the next item? Madam Clerk, if you would read that into the record, please.
Resolution 2023-0288, authorizing the purchase and sale agreement with CCLRC Fairview Gardens LLC in the amount not to exceed $10 for the disposition and sale of real property located at 3207 Franklin Boulevard, Cleveland, permanent parcel number 003-31002.
Your title and role today?
Good morning. I'm Greg Huth with the county's law department here on behalf of the Department of Housing and Community Development. This is a project that's been kicking around for a little over a year now when the land bank folks approached us with a solution to a problem. So we've got Gus and Doug from the land bank here, as well as Ben Trimble from Ohio City Incorporated. This is a low-income senior housing facility in Ohio City. It's in the 3200 block of Franklin Avenue. The big problem here is that it being restricted to low income is its incomes. The property income is restricted. And recently their tax values have gone way up. So the purpose of this transaction is to put this into the hands of the land bank. They will lease it back to the Ohio City group that's been operating it for years. When it's owned by the land bank, it's exempt. We did negotiate back and forth with the land bank so to be a restriction on the deed so that it will always be affordable housing. Well, at least half of the property will always be affordable housing. The other half will always be green space. So like I said, I've got the folks from the land bank in Ohio City here. Ben's put together a short presentation to talk about a little bit about the project and how we got here, if you'd like to see that, or if you just want to go into questions. Or
let's go to the presentation to see if questions are answered through the presentation. But as you know from my phone call with you, if their presentation doesn't clear up the questions, we will ask folks to come to the podium and explain. Don't forget to identify yourself and your role with the agency.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ben Trimble, I'm Chief Real Estate Officer for Ohio City Incorporated. For those of you not familiar with Ohio City Incorporated, we're a community development corporation that works on the near west side of Cleveland, just across the river from downtown. We have about a 10,000 person population. I'm here today to talk to you about Fairview Gardens. Sorry, it's a little bit low for me. It's a 40-unit senior affordable building that we bought a few years ago. So it was a low-income housing tax credit building that was built specifically for seniors on land owned by Cuyahoga County. It's the site of the old Fairview Hospital. And part of the site is actually occupied by Fairview Park, which actually serves our residents. And then part of the site is occupied by this building. So we assumed ownership of it 5 years ago, just to safeguard its affordability. We were a small development partner in the development of it, helping to put together the land and working with an out-of-town partner to develop the building. Basically, as compensation for that, we got the ability to assume ownership at the end of the tax credit partnership. And so we did so, knowing that it was a financial risk, frankly, for our organization.
Just out of curiosity,
Yes.
how much did you pay them for their share of the partnership?
I think it was $100. Yeah. And so we took it over 5 years ago just to safeguard the senior units in a neighborhood that badly is in need of affordable housing, frankly. There's a lot of demand for housing. A lot of our naturally occurring affordable housing over the last couple of years has been converted as there's more desire to live in the neighborhood. So we have three real problems on the property. So this is a new construction project, and so there's actually a fairly large amount of debt still on the project, about $1 million in a first mortgage loan with Citizens, as well as some subsidiary debt with state agencies and city agencies. And then we have tax issues and capital needs. And it's currently losing approximately $150,000 a year. And while we've been trying to absorb those losses the last couple of years, we're a pretty small agency, and that is absolutely not sustainable for us. We've done it because, we care about affordability. We care about trying to keep these seniors from being displaced. But at some point, I'm going to run out of assets to sell, frankly,
You're here to try and restructure the debt so that this project can sustain itself.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So is the tax issue what's generating the significant loss, given the appraisal values in this marketplace have gone up significantly?
It's that and the debt, yes.
And because the state of Ohio has been a little crazy with their tax rulings, so your values jump up maybe 50 to 100%?
Yeah, actually, I think they tripled, which is our next slide.
Okay.
So the last tax valuation through the last tax assessment jumped up to $3 million. Even the highest tax appraisal we had was about $900,000. So that put us in a huge hole with a tax payment of $100,000 plus a year. We have worked, through the last couple of years to appeal those taxes, but that also has a cost too, a pretty significant legal cost to that, which was $55,000 for a 4-year term. And we're still on the hook for actually the taxes that were outstanding from before we appealed it.
So are you on a payment plan for those?
We are on a payment plan with the county, yes.
Okay. Keep going.
Yeah. So even with that current valuation, we're still projected to lose over $100,000 annually. I mean, that's because just the debt, the capital needs of keeping up these projects just don't pay for themselves.
So when you appeal to the Board of Revision, the cap rate valuation, the cash flow, if it's negative, should have, or was it break even prior to paying taxes?
Oh, it was negative. Yeah. Yeah.
Then doesn't matter what the cap rate is, you still have a very low valuation.
Yeah.
We weren't recognizing it?
Yes. Yeah. So we had to appeal to the state.
So that's why you're before the Board of Tax Appeals.
Yes.
And that's going to cost you another $25,000.
Yeah. We did settle with the Board of Appeals. Yeah, at the state.
For 1.1?
Yeah, for 1.1, which is still, unfortunately, too high for the project to handle.
Okay. So your solution is
to transfer the property to the Cuyahoga County Land Bank, yes.
transfer the green space And what other parcel? You have a
And
parcel map?
I
to
do not
show
have
us?
a parcel map, I'm sorry.
Okay,
It's currently all one parcel, so, and that green space is actually included in the parcel that
it's
has
kind
the
of a
housing on it.
rectangular shape of property?
Yeah, it's a rectangular shape with actually a whole frontage that, that borders West 32nd Street that has actually currently been used as a park since this building was built or before.
And so that piece of land will be peeled off into a separate parcel?
That's what we had discussed with the county, actually, as possibly peeling that off and then transferring it to the city of Cleveland.
Okay. So let's get to what we have before. This permanent parcel that ends in 002. You're authorizing that to be peeled off? And then what else happens?
This is transferring a single parcel. The purchase agreement transfers a single parcel. It's contemplated in the future to divide it into two parcels.
Okay. That is
But
not before us today.
That's not here today, no.
Okay.
And there's restrictions on each piece, one to keep the
And that will
low-income
reduce the
housing and other-
value for them?
Sorry?
Keeping the restrictions on each piece will then reduce the value for them.
No, the purpose of transferring it to the land bank reduces the value. It makes it entirely exempt when it's owned by the land.
Let's understand, because the public doesn't always know the things we know about the land bank's authority. Let's have someone from the land bank come up and explain how this works.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the committee.
If you would identify yourself and your
My name
role
is
with the agency.
Gus Frangles, President of the Cuyahoga Land Bank. Along the lines of the question that you had, so the Cuyahoga Land Bank is a legislatively created entity authorized by the county, and one of many purposes is to promote affordability of housing and to reduce blight and to do the kind of things that involve neighborhood stabilization. So the Ohio legislature has granted these county land banks tax exemption, the same as every other city has. If something's in a city land bank, they're tax exempt. The only thing different is that land banks, county land banks, could be more transactional and help solve real problems like here. And so the big issue here is that there's a couple things, but the residents are 50% essentially AMI seniors. So there's part of the reason that we're doing this, not only does the value, it lessens the value a little bit, but by being in the county land bank, it prevents the county from coming back and revaluing at $3 million just because the BTA comes back and says, this is, the current valuation. Tomorrow, whether it's David Seed or somebody, they can just come back and argue whatever they want. Maybe they'll win, maybe they'll lose, but it's just very destabilizing to the seniors there. So in the meantime, if we are to get this property, we committed to the county and negotiated that we would retain the low-income aspect of the property as a deed restriction, same way with maintaining the green space. At some point, as was indicated, we'll discuss with Cleveland whether they want to take the green space into the land bank or whether they just want us to keep it. If we convey that, then, the value would go down a little bit. But again, the objective here is to sort of put at rest the question of a project that's 50% AMI and making sure that affordability stays in place. Because up until all of this, until we got involved, there was a real risk of displacement. And, we just have to resist that. We just can't let that happen.
The deed restrictions will prohibit redevelopment of what is a faux green space on the perimeter of the property, because that becomes eligible for development, which increases the appraised value of the property. So if that's the kind of restriction that goes on this, it's real clear to me that it will keep it from more units being placed and those units being created at a market rate, which would drive the affordable rates, the value of the affordable property up.
Madam Chairman, that's correct. A little bit of what precipitated this was some changes in Ohio appraisal law as well. So it's not, the pro forma typically we're accustomed to, what's your rent structure, and you evaluate, you appraise based on income. Well, now it's based on what the market income would be. Well, with 50% AMI tenants, it's just unsustainable. So we're asking for your help to,
I was incredibly disappointed in the state legislature earlier this year
Right.
and their inability to understand that a significant number of people in this state cannot pay market value for the homes they live in. Okay. We have a problem. We have a solution. We have 3 parties that need to provide that solution. We just need to authorize you to help this project stay affordable. Is that correct?
yes, Madam Chairman.
Questions from my colleagues? Motion from my colleagues? Mr. Kelly? You move to make this project?
Yes.
Do we need to do this expeditiously, mister? We don't? Okay. Well, we move that this property this resolution authorizing a purchase and sales agreement with the CCLRC and Fairview Gardens LLC not to exceed, is that $10? Is acceptable to this county council. Is there a second? There's a second. Any other discussion? Hearing no other discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, gentlemen, congratulations. Thank you for coming forward with this.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, is there anything else that we've forgotten to do on behalf of the people of Cuyahoga County?
No, Madam Chair, there's no other business.
Okay. Thank you for everyone who was in attendance today, and thank you to my colleagues. This meeting is adjourned.